Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on our YouTube live stream. This is the Dallas Songwriter Spotlight. And tonight we are spotlighting Robert Graham, all the way from Perth, Australia. Growing up both in British Columbia and Western Australia, from an early age, Robert Graham divided his time equally between honing his skills as a classical piano player and attempting to learn every pop rock song on the radio. Graham has lived in Gibson, British Columbia, Wolfe Island, Ontario, Brookville, Ontario, Toronto, Ontario, and now he lives in Perth, Australia. He continues the journey in Perth as a professional musician, journeyman, creator, and collaborator. Together, his songwriting and performing, Graham maintains a career as a music director, a pianist, vocalist, vocal repertoire coach, and choir director, and has worked in numerous theater productions across Canada and Australia. His collaborations have included several multi-genre bands and ensembles, touring in the UK with Canadian roots, the supergroup Tanglefoot, who was winner of the Best Vocal Group in 2007 from the Canadian Folk Music Awards, and performing with Western Australia's legendary Aboriginal band Yabu, as well as West Australia's Opera Company and the Perth Symphonic Chorus. Wow, that's a lot of stuff that Robert has going there. Robert's debut solo record was Storm in a Teacup, and had 10 tracks. And then it was followed by his When I Feel Like This EP from 2015, consisting of 3 great tracks written by Robert and performed by his Toronto band, The Fairest and the Best. And most recently, released in 2022, last September, The Line. It was his second solo album with 10 tracks. He has received a lot of recognition from several major songwriting competitions, including Billboard World Song Contest, the UK Songwriting Competition, the Song of the Year Contest, the Eventide Song Contest, and most recently, the Dallas Songwriters Association Song Contest. Here, if you want to put that certificate up. In 2022, Robert won the Love Songs category, second place winner, with his song When the World Begins Again. And Robert has really won a lot of he's either been a finalist or semi-finalist in a lot of DSA contests going way back to 2007. So he's really been active in our contest. Harry, can you put up that certificate? There you go. So congratulations for that, Robert. We really appreciate you being a part of our tribe.
My pleasure.
So his songs have garnered sync license contracts from the following networks and television shows: the Discovery Network, Fox Sports, the NASCAR Network, 3 Kardashian shows, wow, Total Divas, The Real World, Bad Girls Club, Love Games, Best Inc., Stewart's and Hamilton's, Dash Dolls, and many more. In 2019, Robert was awarded the Toronto Artscape Foundation Launchpad Bursary, and a year earlier, the Douglas Calling Memorial Bursary for liturgical music, excuse me. So please welcome Robert Graham.
Hi there. Thank you very much.
Well, what are we going to have? What are you going to play for us first of all, Robert?
Well, I think I'll play the song that you've got up there on the screen.
Oh,
When the
good.
World Begins Again.
Perfect.
And, I don't know if you want me talk about what this song is about and play it, or just play it and we can
It
talk
is
about it
your
later?
show, Robert. You can do whatever you want to. Give us talk to us a little bit. Tell us about the
Okay.
song.
Well, I'm a bit reluctant to tell you what the song is about because when people hear this song, they come up and tell me what they think about it and what they heard in the song, and it's wildly different from what I was thinking when I wrote it, and it's often wildly different from each other. They all have their different interpretations. But I'll tell you how the song came about. Um, I do a show at this venue here in Perth once a month, and it's a request show. And so I play songs, I bring along my binder, and it's got all the songs that I can play, and there's quite a few there. And people just choose what they want me to play. They write it down on a piece of paper and they slam it down on my piano on a sticky notepad, you know. And so it's kind of, I bill it as like, I have no choice. I'm your, you know, I have to play what you want me to play. And so as a result, I often play songs that are, you know, not what you'd expect, you know, like people request some weird songs. And this one particular time, this man requested The White Cliffs of Dover, which, as you know, is like a very old song from the war years. And I thought, oh my gosh, like I knew how to play it, but I thought, well, I don't know if it will really fly in 2023, you know, in a pub in Perth, Western Australia. So I thought, well, I have no choice. I have to do it, you know. So I played this song, and like a lot of those old songs, not a lot of people know the verses, you know. But once I hit that chorus, you know, there'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. I looked up, and I was shocked to find that the entire room had stopped what they were doing. They were all staring at me, and they were singing along with gusto, and they all had their arms around each other, and you know, like young people, old people. I was really amazed, and when I was driving home that night, I was thinking, why, of all the songs that I played that night, like why did that one hit the best, you know? And I realized, well, to put it into context, at the time, Perth was going through quite a bad COVID upswing with COVID numbers. You have to realize that in Perth, because we're so isolated, we were spared COVID for many months. You know, when over there in the U.S. and in Italy and other places there was a lot of COVID happening, we had literally zero COVID here for about a year. And so it was at this time that we were first starting to get COVID cases. And when I did that show, we were getting like 1,000 cases a day, which was a lot for us. And people were very nervous and upset about it. And I think with that song, it's a song about hope. Mm-hmm. So people were singing along about this with this song about, you know, things will get better. And that's what that song's about. And on the way home, I thought I would like to write a song like that, kind of an old school song. And that's the one that I wrote, and that's the one I entered in the competition. And sorry, that's a long ramble, but as I said, people get other things out of it, but that's the germination of the song. So
great song, great story. Can't wait to hear it again.
Okay. When the world begins again, I'll open up my window like a kiss that comes from long ago. I feel the sun upon my face. when the world begins again. Suddenly I will remember what it feels like to be whole again. Like a smile I had to hide. And you and I, we will embrace once more, hold each other close when the world begins again. The longest night always fades into the morning light. The longest day won't last forever. The stars still shine. I look up and feel them deep inside, filling me with light and hope till then. When the world begins again. When the world begins again, I will step out of the shadows and I'll remember who I used to be, dream of who I can become. And we will open up our eyes and see something better than before. When the world begins again. The longest night always filled with laughter, love and light. The sweetest days will be together. The stars will dance to the rhythm of a new romance. A dance of love will never want to end. When the world begins again. When the world begins again. Thank you very much.
Lucky for us that your fans requested White Cliffs of Dover.
Yeah.
Because that's a wonderful song. It really is. So, do you think that song is a cultural thing because Australia is in the British Commonwealth, and so it's a song that has been popular for a long time, like Waltzing Matilda, or?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was sung by Vera Lynn, and so she was very famous singer. You know, I think it was the First World War, the Second World War, but it was a song, The White Cliffs of Dover. I was singing that in like nursing homes, senior centers when I was 19.
Right. Uh-huh.
You know, and I'm 52 now, so that's why I
Mhm.
was so shocked that A, that anyone would request it, and B, that it would have such a that resonates so well with young people. You know, I was just really surprised.
So was that nursing homes in Canada or in Australia?
Both actually.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And when I was
So
19, I was in Australia, but yeah,
okay. So where were you born?
I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Okay. Now we got the real birthplace there out of it. So are you do you have a Canadian passport or an Australian passport?
I have both, luckily.
I knew it. That's
Yes,
that's wonderful.
yeah,
Well, so you attended school in Canada before you moved to Australia or
correct. Yeah,
yeah.
my parents were from here in Perth.
Hmm.
They moved to Australia when they were quite young and before they had kids, and they had children in Canada.
Hmm.
And I grew up in British Columbia, just north of Vancouver. Very
Hmm.
beautiful place called Gibsons, British Columbia, and had a lovely childhood there. And then I moved to Perth when I was 12, and so I did all my high school here, and I went to university here.
Hmm.
And then when I was 30, I thought I wanted to go back and explore my Canadian roots. And so I went back to Canada and I stayed there for 20 years, mainly in Ontario.
Hmm.
And then I moved back to Perth ostensibly to be with my family again because it'd
Hmm.
been a long time. So,
So I don't hear
uh,
much of an Australia accent from you. You sound
yeah,
more
right. If
Canadian.
you want me to put it on, I'll just put it on right now. How about that?
Okay, there you go. What do you got next for us to it? What's your next
Oh,
song? I'm sorry to put you on the spot about your
I'm
your
just having a cup
birth.
of tea because it's actually like 8 o'clock in the morning here. So
I know we got you
poor
early,
people,
didn't we?
the poor people in my house are trying to sleep. But
They
well,
need.
let's do the title track from The Line. This is the record I put out in September. And while we're talking about family members, this was actually written for the three people in my family. As I said, we moved here 3 years ago, and you know, moving can stir up a lot of emotion inside, and it certainly did for me. And so I wrote a verse each for each of my family here. The verse one is for my wife. Verse two is for my daughter, and I'll mention something about verse two because um, when I found out my wife was pregnant for the first time, like many fathers, the first image that went through my head was, or the first thought was, am I going to be a good father? Am I up for this? You know? So at the time, I wrote a letter to my unborn child and said, look, I'm not sure how I'm going to do at this, but what I'm going to commit to you is I'm going to try my best. So I referenced that letter in verse 2. And verse 3 is for my son, who was not at all sure about whether moving to Australia was a good idea. So it was a very tumultuous time. But anyway, this song is called The Line. And the line basically is the line between family members that sometimes gets stretched, sometimes gets frayed, you know, by distance or illness or even death or, you know, circumstance, but hopefully remain strong. So that's the line between everyone in the family. That's what I mean by the line.
Okay, great.
I don't remember losing sight of you. How could I have missed it? It was in plain view. Time moves so slowly when it's every day. But change is slow and things can fade away. Oh, things can fade away. but we are on the same line, sometimes moving out of time. But sometimes the best songs don't always rhyme. Seasons change as time goes by, and things will change with you and I. We just need to hold on to the light. There was a time I promised I would try to give you love that you could justify. Your hopes and dreams would all be safe with me, and I could make them all reality. Oh, it was too hard for me. But part of me will be in you, so think of me when you need to, and remember how much love I have for you. And like the morning sun at dawn, you will live when I am gone, but the line between us will go on. Do you feel the love I have inside? Do you get enough, or do you feel denied? Sometimes I wonder what you think of me. Was I the person that you hoped I'd be? Oh, I wish that you could see that you and I still have some time to walk together on this line. And when you walk alone, you will be fine. You will shine just like a star, and as you journey wide and far, the light will be a part of who you are.
That was wonderful. You know, you've written a couple songs titled "You Are Welcome Here" and "It Could Be You," which have to do with the refugee crisis, and that's worldwide, and it's a cause that has called you to action. I know that "It Could Be You" was a runner-up for the 2018 Songs for Social Change songwriting competition. And it also placed fourth overall in the 2016 Dallas Songwriters Association Song Contest. Could you share with us a little bit about the story of your involvement with the refugee cause? I think you had a friend in Canada that was from El Salvador, and you kind of got behind his cause. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess when I was a child, growing up in Gibsons in British Columbia, we had some, I guess at the time they were called boat people from Vietnam, who came to our community. My dad was teaching at the local high school, and he was put in charge of kind of integrating those people into the school and the community. This was in the 70s, and the community really gathered around, and as a community, I remember feeling that with the adults around me, they regarded it as something special that these people had come to live with us in our community. And then over the years, of course, I've seen attitudes towards refugees harden very considerably in most of the places I lived, and certainly in Australia, which does not have a good record in terms of the treatment of refugees. So, yeah, and I worked with a man called Jose Figueroa, who was involved in opposition to the Salvadoran government during the 80s, which was a very vicious government and a very big human rights abusing kind of government. And he was the student leader. He was forced to flee El Salvador and came to Canada and was living here quite happily for many years. Had a family and wife and several children. He had a child with autism, and then for some reason the conservative government over there decided, after all these years of him being a Canadian, they wanted to deport him. And I had been quite active when I was at university in solidarity work with the people in El Salvador in the late 80s and early 90s. And I just thought that was a horrible thing, and I wanted to help this guy. And so I started working with him. I wrote a song for him. And then I still am working with him, actually. But later on, I wrote that song that you mentioned, It Could Be You. And I wrote that in Canada, listening to a couple of politicians argue about what they were, bragging about what they were doing to keep refugees out. Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, with a different roll of the dice, that could be any one of us, And so that was the germination of the song, It Could Be You, which is about refugees in general, and maybe asking people to take pause and think about how, as I said, you could be walking in someone else's shoes and you could be that person, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been interested in that. Yeah.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but can you perform both or either one of those songs tonight? Or
yeah, I can do It Could Be You if you like.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. I haven't done this one for a while, so if I muck it up, you'll know
why. We won't know the difference.
You see them on your TV screens, in newspapers and magazines, leaving everything they have behind. It's a journey they don't want to take. They take it for their children's sake. Can you say you wouldn't do it too? Humanity is staring at you if you choose to see. It could be you. Why don't you feel what they're going through? It could be you. It could be you. Do you really think it's true when you We say there's nothing we can do when you know you'd never say that as a child. Why can't you seem to comprehend? Life's just a lottery, my friend. When did you decide the game was through? Humanity is staring at you if you choose to see. It could be you. Why don't you feel what they're going through? It could be you. It could be you. People are people. People like you and me. Why can't you see? Talk to the children, 'cause they understand. If we can jump around on the moon, then there's no excuse to turn away. Open up your heart today. It could be you. Why don't you feel what they're going through? It could be you. It could be you. Refugees are not a threat. They're just people that you haven't met. People who are just like you. People who have dreams like you. Thank you.
That was great. So I hear a little bit of Billy Joel and some of the Beatles in that song. It's great.
Thank you very much. That's a big compliment.
Well, I mean, you must have picked up something. You were learning all those rock songs off the radio when you were coming up, so that helps a
Yeah.
lot in your songwriting.
Yeah.
So you do a little bit of consultation and co-writing. I noticed on your website. Do you like to co-write, or how does?
I can't say I've done a lot of it, but I do like it. I'm in the process of starting a new band over here. I had a band in Toronto for 6 years.
You
And
miss the fairest and best?
I do miss them, yeah. They were very, very, well, I've always enjoyed the dynamic of being in a band, you know, because it becomes a family. And in particular in Canada, I had no family over there. And so those were the people I kind of hung out the most. And they were very loyal to the music and great friends, you know, so I miss that dynamic. So when I arrived here 3 years ago, my first concern was to try and, you know, reestablish my career here after 20 years and, you know, try and make a little bit of cash to survive. And then now I've managed to get on my feet a bit. I've now turned to like trying to form a band to play some of these songs live. I've been playing them live by myself, but I like the dynamic. I like the camaraderie of being in a band, and I'm very open to working with other writers if I can find some other writers who are in the band for sure.
Yeah, get out on the festival stage. There's a couple. There's some good festivals there in Australia. I don't know if they're in your area or not, but did you play Canadian Music Week?
I did a couple times, yeah.
Yeah, I bet that was fun.
Yeah, it was. It really
I've
was.
heard that's a great conference there. And I've always wanted to go to it, but never got an opportunity because it seemed like for a while it always came like right before South by Southwest. We were always getting ready. It was either before or after, and we were, you know, doing South by Southwest and around that.
Right.
But
the thing is about the West Australian music scene is, you know, Perth is the most isolated city in the world.
I get that picture from you.
Yeah, which is great when it comes to COVID.
Yeah.
But, you know, and it's also great in a way for the music scene, because unlike a lot of other music scenes that I've been in, the people here, if you come along as a newcomer, and certainly my daughter, who's also in a band, you know, like when someone new comes along, they're like, "Oh, great, someone new, and we want to, you know, we want to build this scene together." They're very welcoming, you know, and that doesn't always happen in other places, and because we're so far away from the rest of Australia and the rest of the world, we have to work together to build a vibrant scene, and it is a really vibrant scene here. There are some great festivals, and live music is a big part of the culture here, so it's really nice to see.
That's great. So play us 2 or 3 or your favorite songs in a row, and we won't talk much. I know people are just dying to hear you. Play your songs, so I will quit jabbering so we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'll try and play something a little more upbeat. How about that?
Sounds great.
This song is it's an upbeat song, but it's kind of a sad topic. I was in Toronto, I was in my basement. I'm thinking, I was feeling a bit lonely. I was by myself. I thought, well, I'm surrounded by all these people, and this is, you know, a big city and all, but don't feel like I'm connecting with anybody. So I was feeling a bit lonely, and so I wrote this song, When I Feel Like This. When I feel like this, I can't move myself away from the abyss. There's no place where I can hide. When I feel like this, staring at the truth, like a tree that has been cut off at the roots. Am I brave enough to cry? 'Cause I can see you, I can hear you, but there's nothing getting through. But don't stop trying, oh, I need you lying right next to me. When I feel like this, when I feel like this, the way I wanna be just fades into the mist, and there's clouds behind my eyes. 'Cause I can see you, I can hear you, but there's nothing getting through. But don't stop trying, no, I need you lying right next to me. When I feel like this, nothing in the world can get me high. There could be a rainbow in the sky. Look at all the people in the streets I'll never meet. Don't you know that I can see you, I can hear you, but there's nothing getting through. Don't stop trying, no, I need you lying right next to me. When I feel like this, whoa. Thank you.
It was great. Go on and give us another one.
All right, so this song, I've always been attracted to songwriters who can write in a lot of different styles. And, you know, people like Joe Jackson and, you know, people like that. So this song, I decided, it's a little bit of a story, but let's just say there was an encounter that I was able to extricate myself from, an unexpected romantic encounter, and it's called The One That Got Away. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. If you go to my website, you can see the whole story there, but it's an interesting experience that happened, and I decided to write a Latin cha-cha. So it goes like this. Just one thing before I go. There's just one thing I want you to know. Another time or another place, things might have gone a different way. Yeah. It's crazy, I know, and words don't come that easy. It's such a cliche, but it's clear to me you'll have to be the one that got away. It happens every day, all around the world they say, but it still took me by surprise. I really hate to say, but I can't play this game with you, 'cause you're the one that got away. Search for love can seem so long. It sounds so easy in a song, but true love is worth waiting for, and it's gonna walk right through your door. And it's hard to explain, but you know it when you find it. It's worth all the pain, but till that day you'll have to stay the one that got away. It happens every day, all around the world they say, but it still took me by surprise. I really hate to say, but I can't play this game with you, 'cause you're the one that got away. Believe me, I've been there before, and I know what loneliness can be. And it's so easy just to run and hide. Now I'm not trying to be unkind, you deserve what I can't offer you. So hold on tight. And it happens every day, all around the world they say, but it still took me by surprise. I really hate to say, but I can't play this game with you, 'cause you're the one that got away. The one that got away.
I'm glad she got away because it gave us a song. That was great.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead. Give us another one.
Oh, you want another one? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this one's a bit different. You mentioned in the when you were talking about me at the beginning there that I'd written some religious music. I work at a church every Sunday, and I have done for about 7 or 8 years now. And I'm not a religious person, I have to say, but I've come to realize that, music plays an important part in worship. It's very important for people who want to connect with their God. The music is a crucial part a lot of the time. And I really had a high regard for the people in the last church I worked at in Toronto. I had a very high regard for those people, and I really thought that they were good. They were true Christians in the sense, of being compassionate, caring for others, and that. And so I wanted to write something for them. So I wrote a version of the Lord's Prayer. I could do that, and you probably know the words, but this is more like a contemporary version of the Lord's Prayer, and it was kind of my gift to them.
Sounds great.
Yeah. I put it on the new album as well. So it goes like this. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. I had no idea so many people were watching.
Very nice. You know, we're here we live in the Bible Belt, you know, here in Dallas.
Yeah.
So we're all religious, all of us. My next newest song is about the Holy Spirit. So
Oh,
we're
fantastic.
working on that right now. So now when we were talking to you by email about scheduling this, I think you said at one point you're going off to a choir rehearsal after this or something like that. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually I worked with several choirs, have done for years. It's it's been a part of my career for quite a long time now, and I've just started, as well as the choirs. I'm starting next month. I'm running some classes called Singing for Fun, which is for people 55 and over, and whoever wants to come just comes along, and we just belt through as many songs as we can get through. To be honest, I like to do a little more, I'd like to teach them a little bit of harmony. You know, I choose songs that are, there are some songs that, people, they already know the harmony, even though they didn't know that they knew the harmony, like the Beverly Brothers and stuff like that. They're simple harmonies, they're fantastic harmonies, but they grew up listening to the harmonies. So when you teach it to them, it sticks in their head.
Mm-hmm.
So we split the group into two, and one sings the third above the other, and they sound fantastic, and then they go on to the next one. So it's just as you know, like singing in a group is
It
great for
is.
your mental health
It
and
is.
physical and mental health.
Music is great therapy, and singing along is not only mentally good for you, but it's physically good for you because you're breathing a lot. And
Yeah,
and old people forget to breathe. So
right.
out of us forget to breathe, so that's a good breathing exercise, just singing.
You know, it's
Um,
interesting that you say that because I did a rehearsal yesterday with a choir it's called the Colorado Crooners, and it's a men's choir. Most of them are in their 70s. And we've had a guy, actually, he's from the States, he's from Colorado. And he's been singing with us for just a couple of months. And he's going back to Colorado this week. So this was his last session. And he wanted to say a few words at the end. And he said, look, when I was approached at a social engagement from someone from this choir, and they said, oh, you should join our choir, my initial response was like, I don't want to, I can't sing, I'm not going to, And the guy kept pestering him, and he wrote down where it was, where we met, and everything. And he came along, and this man was in his 70s, and he said, first of all, he said the guys were so welcoming, and he felt really welcomed. But then he said, for the very first time, he stood up, and there was a man singing next to him, and a man singing on his left and on his right, and we were all singing together. He said, I felt something burst open in my chest because it was the first time in my life that I had ever sung in a group of people, mm-hmm. which was really surprising to me. But he said, it just felt like I could feel something pouring into my body, like some kind of spirit. Mm-hmm. And he was very emotional when he was saying goodbye to us. And of course, I had no idea that was the impact on this fella. But, and it was very moving for the other men to hear, So, yeah, singing in choirs is great. And they're very popular, both in Canada and Australia. I'm sure they are in the States too.
Yeah.
As a hobby for people,
What a great
really,
story. Yeah. I'm a music therapist, so I've worked in music for many years with different people. And just about the best thing you can do for seniors is to get them to sing and breathe. And so that's wonderful that you do that. So do you have any choir directing experience, or you just kind of came by that naturally, or were you trained to do it, or?
Well, like a lot of musicians who are trying to earn a living playing music, you end up going all around and up and down. Your career takes a lot of different paths. Mm-hmm. And I got into choirs. Basically, I used to do a lot of music theater directing, mm-hmm. And from there, and that was, small ensembles. We were doing like right. Summer stock and, stuff like that. But then I started in Toronto. I started to work as a director from the piano with choirs. Mm-hmm. I did quite a bit of directing. I had 2 or 3 different choirs that I worked with in Toronto. And then when I moved here, my inner slacker kicked in, and I thought, I'm not sure if I want to direct anymore. I'm quite happy to be an accompanist. I was an accompanist from a very early age with choirs. Mm-hmm. But, and I would never say that I'm a vocal specialist. Like, I've worked with people who know a lot about vocal technique and a good choral conductor. So I would never put myself in that category. But, I picked up things over the years by listening to them. And so as a conductor, I feel I have something to offer. I feel I have more to offer as a pianist. That's my main bag, So when I moved here, I thought, well, I'll leave the responsibility of being in charge to someone else. And so, but I picked up a lot of work as an accompanist, mm-hmm. choirs.
You come from the school of experience.
Something like that.
Yeah. Well, what you got for us? I got another song?
Yeah, I got another one. This one's kind of a funny one. This is off my first record, Storm in a Teacup. And sometimes you write a song and you get 3/4 of the way through, and you think, oh, this is kind of boring, like I don't like the way this is going. So it was a song about a guy who fell in love with a girl, and standard kind of thing. And I thought I need to add something to this and make it more interesting. So right at the end, I added a verse which takes the song in a whole new direction unexpectedly. It's about a man who falls in love with a girl, but unfortunately for him, she is also in love with girls.
Oh, sounds delightful.
So if you listen closely to the last verse, you'll hear, and if there are any men out there watching and this has happened to them, you'll know how to handle that situation with dignity. It's called In Love with a Girl. Once I saw her, I just had to know her name, her address, and her telephone. I've never seen a girl who looks like that. I'm in love, and that's a fact. She never noticed me, but I saw her, and something deep inside began to stir. When I think of her, it drives me mad. I'm in love, it sure feels bad. I wanna hold her, tell her I love her, but she don't know my name. I wanna tell her that I'm dreaming of her. How long must I wait? I am going insane. Long hair shining in the autumn sun. Living without a man is just no fun. When I close my eyes, I see her face. I'm in love, it's no disgrace. Bye, 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 bye. Oh, yeah. Oh, I wanna hold her, tell her I love her, but she don't know my name. I wanna tell her that I'm dreaming of her. How long must I wait? I am going insane. And then I saw her, much to my surprise, kissing the girl and staring into her eyes. My heart was broken, my head started to swirl. She's in love with the girl. And so to her I'll say goodbye and good luck. I'll bow out gracefully and suck it up. But I'll never hold her and it makes me sad. I'm in love, it sure feels bad. I'll never change her, that's her destiny. She's in love, just not with me. She's in love, but not with me.
That was cool. That was very New Orleans style. Very New Orleans style.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you entered. You were a finalist in one of the a Medium contest. Was that a songwriting
Which?
contest? Medium.
Which one?
Medium.
Eden. Yes.
From France, 2011 France contest.
Yes.
It says IRL, but I don't know what IRL stands for. I went to Medium for many years, but I haven't been there since 2001.
Right.
But,
yeah, to be honest, I'm not going to lie. I can't even remember.
Yeah. I wondered if you didn't.
Yeah.
So you didn't go to.
I never entered again.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah,
you didn't go to
I didn't
Cannes?
go
You didn't go to
there.
that festival or anything? No.
I think basically what that was there was a company that was pitching they were going to Edom, and from memory they wanted to get it was a competition to be included on their
Compilation album.
compilation for pitching and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's cool. I used
nowhere
to
near as important as the Dallas Songwriters Association.
Thank you. I don't. Medium's pretty important. That's a worldwide conference. I used to go there every year, and I actually work for Medium as a consultant in the U.S. So for a few years too as well. So it's a great place. Cannes, France. Hey, you can't beat it. It's
Yeah, I'd love to go
wonderful.
one day.
So you've had a lot of success at licensing. I saw that list of things that you'd licensed to a lot of different companies and stuff. What do you think? What what are the best kinds of songs are m- that what are the best songs to license? Do you think? And like, how did you get your contacts to license?
Well, I'm sorry to deflate the balloon here a bit, but I I have had success having my music contracted to some television shows and networks and things like that. But I've had yet to see a dime from any of those contracts.
Okay.
So I don't know whether they actually use them or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I can tell you how I was able to, you know, have those contracts in place. But in terms of the impact on my life, it's been virtually zero, other than having something cool to put on my website. You know what I mean?
Right. Uh-huh.
Um, I am not very technically minded. I don't have a lot of skill in recording and things like that. So basically, all I can do is license what I've written or attempt to license.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can take some things like turn them into instrumentals and turn them into smaller stems and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of what they want, uh, you're talking to the wrong person because I really I don't really have that in mind when I write. I'm just trying to write honest music that speaks to what's going on in my head, and in my heart. So
And you do
um,
that.
yeah, well, I don't know whether I've never really had a focus on that, but um, there are I think there are probably people better than me to give advice on that. To be
Okay.
honest, yeah.
So, what else? You got another song for us? And I know you're kind of strapped for time. So, um, what,
Yeah, I can do one more.
would do one more or two more? What?
Sure, yeah. Let me see here. Okay, well, this song is the nice one. This is off the Line as well, which is my latest record. Um, One of the nice things about coming back here was spending time with my mother. And because I was away for 20 years and we're very close. And my dad passed away several years ago, but we've had some nice talks about my father and their relationship. And she was telling me one day about what a great man he was and what a wonderful relationship they had. And I came home and wrote this song. It's spoken through her. You have to imagine it's her singing it, not me, about him. But I think it can be for anybody who's lost someone in their life.
Wonderful.
It's called Real Love, and I'd like to dedicate it to Joy Graham and Bob Graham, my
Wonderful.
parents. Sometimes in my dreams, you will be there, like you were there before you slipped away from me. I was left alone. I can still remember the way you laughed and your easy smile and the way you used to hold me when I needed you.
So many people love the one they knew, but I hope you knew I was the one who loved you most of all. What does it tell you when after all this time there's not a day that I don't see your face and wish you were still mine? Real love, true love, the kind I wish for everyone. We had real love, and underneath my sadness, I'm so grateful for the love, and I'm grateful for the time I had with you. I want the world to know how I loved you every day when I see you in my children's eyes. How I wish you could. I am alone now, and each and every day I still hope and pray somehow you can hear me when I talk to you. If you are listening, let me tell you just one thing. They're the final words you told me. I love you. Real love, true love, the kind I wish for everyone. We had real love, and underneath my sadness, I'm so grateful for the love, and I'm grateful for the time I had with you.
I love it. I love it. So I asked the man behind the curtain, and we do have time for one more song if you'd like to do one for us.
Sure.
Yay.
All right, let's do it. So, this is also from the first album I did. It's called it's called "Don't Go," and there's an interesting story about this, but it's basically a heartbreak song, but it's got a Motown feel to it. So it goes like this. comfort me. When I close my eyes, it's you I see. I pretend it don't bother me, but I can feel the sun on me. Tell me why you walked away, leaving me alone this way. Tell me, what can I do to make you stay? Don't go. Don't go. I'm standing in the pouring rain. My heart is mounted up here. Only you can stop this pain and make me feel alive again. I lie in bed but I don't sleep. I lie and wish for your sweet company. Do you ever think of me? Oh, don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Love like ours is hard to find. Time won't take you off my mind, I know. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Thank you.
When you get your band to play that song, the vocal harmonies on Don't Go are going to sound great.
Yeah, well, actually, I recorded that with a bunch of harmonies on my first record, so you'll have to use your imagination there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard them.
Thank you so much. Hey, that's Bill Martin, our director of showcases. That's his voice in the background. Thank you to our songwriter extraordinaire, Robert Graham. Thank you, Harry Hewlett, the Wizard of Oz back behind the curtain, our director tonight. And thank you all for tuning in to Dallas Songwriters Spotlight from, good night, all from Dallas, Texas to Perth, Australia. Good night. Thank you.